And just like that, we are back with a very exciting match between 1CDO, the 12th seed, and EW, the 13th seed. I'm going to talk about this matchup in just a few minutes. We've joined a little bit before we're going to get started. But very quickly, just want to introduce yet again my good friend Skurbs, who is joining me in the booth today. Thanks, Skurbs, for joining. This has been great so far.
Howdy, howdy.
Really, really nice job with the casting. I'm really enjoying this format between the two of us. I think we're doing a great job. If you think we're doing a great job, let us know in chat. So now we had game one, or match one, I should say, on stream was between Exodus and DC. Exodus pulls it out by the skin of their teeth. We just had match one between 20th and NPA, where NPA definitely put up a good fight, but I think 20th was in the driver's seat for the majority of the match. And now we are moving into a winner-take-all, the third match of a best-of-3 series between 1CDO and EW. This is in losers round 2, meaning that the winner of this game is going to move on and advance to losers round 3 next Saturday, and the loser is just out. This would be their second loss of the tournament, so they will be eliminated. So a lot on the line here, and I just have to say, this has been a weird series. What I've been told is that 1CDO is the higher seed in this matchup, and they made their choice, and they brought EW to Rue on St. Marie du Mont, and EW beat them on their choice. Interesting. And then EW got to make their choice in match 2, and they brought them to Checkpoint on this map, St. Mary Eglise, and 1CDO won. So
what's going on?
Both teams losing on their individual selections, and I really don't know what that means for this match. I don't know. I've never seen that happen before. The whole point of having the selections is so that you win on your choice, kind of, sort of, or at least you have an advantage. But both teams actually winning on their opponent's choices, I mean, this could... I want to stream this because I have no idea who's going to win, and that is so exciting.
Let me tell you, Albanus, I am excited for this one. And folks, the too long don't read for this is we don't have a bloody clue what's about to happen. Considering everything Albanus just said, this could literally go either way. This is one of those matches which has the potential to be the most exciting. You know, everything is on the line for this third game out of the 3. So, you know, we could see some incredible Hail Mary pushes in, plenty of smokes, just ridiculous things happening. It's definitely one to stay seated for.
And a great strong point to have this third match on. Hospice, as we saw earlier in the DC Exodus match, is just such a... It's crazy, this strong point. You could do so much here. There's just so many angles. There's so many little alleys and places to go. It's wild. And I am not going to make a prediction. I really don't know who the stronger team is. If 1CDO had won on their own selection and EW had won on theirs, I would give slight advantage 1CDO, right? Because it's their choice. But like neither team did that, so I don't know. Anyone could win this. So we're going to bring this to you live, and we're getting started in just a few seconds here. You're going to have, just for clarity, you're going to have EW playing as Axis. There'll be an orange on your left, and you will have 1CDO playing as Allies in blue, and they will be on your right. We have just now hit time. We've just gotten started, 1:15 game time. This is a 30-minute match if you are just joining us for the first time. If necessary, if the strong point is contested at the end of 30 minutes, we will go into overtime. We had an overtime earlier today, and man, what an end to a series it would be if this somehow ends in an overtime. Would be really fun. So as we see, I'm going to move a little bit here to just get a slightly better view. We're seeing rockets flying in on both teams here, trying to Hail Mary rockets across the map at the start. I respect that. And yeah, we're seeing both teams run in. And, you know, that building, I think, is going to be the key yet again. I think we're going to come right back to that building. I am very, very excited.
Listen, folks, Albanus won't say this too much on the stream over the course of the competition, but if there's ever a match that you share with your friends, your clanmates, if you're interested in Hell Let Loose, put this on the Discords that you're a part of, because there is just complete potential for this to just go anyway here. It's going to be an exciting watch, and we're nearly going to get into the first engagement here. It looks like both sides are really taking quite a a long line into point. No really congested charges in. Obviously, this building on the western side is going to be absolutely vital. And I do believe. Nope, no one has died just yet. There we go. First couple smokes out. I was just waiting for the gunfire to start, and it looks like the EW have taken control of that really important building that we spoke about a bit earlier.
Absolutely. We're seeing a really strong concentration
wow.
now. Yeah, I mean, look at that concentration. EW, I think, in really nice position off rip. We're seeing just a line of players from both teams, up, down. But look how many players from EW inside the building or around it.
Also, look at the fact there was one CDO got pretty much completely picked there in the center. There's barely any of them left from that initial charge.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right now seeing a really nice opening move from EW, doing a great job of controlling. We're seeing some 1CDO players starting to move towards the strong point itself, but they haven't quite gotten close enough. Skirb, I'm going to ask you to take over for a couple of minutes while I deal with a situation at my house. Give me 1 second. I will be back in 3 minutes.
No problems. Hello, folks. You have me. This is where the stream goes to pot. No, I'm only joking. So just to describe what's going on here, EW have made a really good charge into the center. They've taken pretty much the Hospice complex, if you like, in this 3-story, 2-story building on the left-hand side. Again, 1CDO have lost out in the original engagement on the north side. They've got a couple men progressing, hugging the absolute northern side of the map, and there it goes, flips to EW. And all I'm seeing here is a lot of picks being taken by EW on 1CDO. I'm not really seeing that many from EW get taken. Looks like they're really losing these initial engagements here. And like we saw in the Exodus match a little bit earlier on the northern side, the attacking team are going to use this wheat field. I'm not sure if you guys will see too much of it on the map. I'm yet to see where Abinus has left the camera, but we do have a couple of people on the northern side channeling the inner Theresa May, looking in and amongst the wheat fields. And EW, just to describe what's going on, have taken complete control of the center now. 1CDO progressing slightly from the south. There are a couple of dots that are just slowly moving their way up, kind of very, very slowly and carefully, but they're not really encountering anyone because the majority of EW are controlling this center area. I have yet to see many engagements from 1CDO which have been meaningful. The team that were at the top farming in the wheat field haven't really done very much themselves. They are constantly pushing up there, but getting picked off. There is an OP on the northern side from 1CDO, from what I can tell. Most of the OPs on the EW, which are the team coming from the left-hand side of the map in orange, most of the OPs are in a quite tight space, maybe 100 meters away from each other, just behind Hospice, so they're quite comfortable in their position now. The main thing that 1CDO here are going to do is really take control of the south. Whether or not they use that to their advantage is remains to be seen, really. There aren't very many people belonging to EW on the southern area, unfortunately. It looks like 1CDO are going to make the most progress there. They have a number of men who are kind of making their way through the back gardens on the western side of the map, but EW are moving their way in to try and crunch them a little bit. Again, the control still remains with EW in the center. 1CDO, who are the blue team on your screens, are again at the absolute northern side of the map here of the game, and they are continuing to push kind of along this wheat field area, along this kind of like isolated road. They're putting smokes out, not making very much progress. We'll see what happens there. 1CDO though are making a little bit of ground in the center, but they're constantly getting picked off. They have an OP kind of along the right hand side of Hospice here. So yeah, really nothing that meaningful happening for 1CDO here, apart from on the south side. Again, I'm not sure what you can see on your screen at the moment because my view of it is 5 minutes behind, so I do apologize if I'm describing things that you cannot see, but this happens. in this kind of thing. I'm hoping Abinus will be back very shortly. But
I have just returned.
Oh, right on cue. I actually got startled there a little bit as you said that. Welcome back. So yeah, just to describe what's really happened, one CDO have made a bit of progress on the northern side. They're kind of hugging around the Wheatfields area. The main approach east to west along the center road, they're just getting constantly picked off. And the only real meaningful thing one CDO are doing here, to recap the point, is coming in from the south. But again, they're getting picked off in these garden areas on the western side of the main road.
And we are seeing like a strong concentration of EW in the middle, but you're right. Like EW doesn't have that much north. They've got a automatic rifleman kind of looking there, but it's pretty thin. I think opportunities. Obviously, they have the building, so they can kind of see in that direction a little bit. One CDO is now starting to stack in the center, just around the bend of the road. I'm going to pivot a little bit south to kind of see what's going on here. I see some one CDO players actually starting to sweep in quite nicely. It looks like maybe an outpost was eliminated by one CDO on the south side. So
yes,
one CDO actually doing a nice job south, really pushing all three angles of the strong point. Actually looks quite good right now for one CDO. EW, having a really nice defensive presence in that kind of fortified courtyard, and I don't know if one CDO is going to be able to deal with that quite yet, but certainly positioning wise on the map, I really like one CDO. And I just have to point out, this entire center section is wide open. Look at the very center of
wide open.
There is nobody from EW there, and I'm hoping for one CDO's sake that they're communicating back to their team, being like, hey, look, like I'm in the middle, and I'm like, there's nobody here. Like just go this way. And that would be the play. We're about to see an interaction between two riflemen. Oh, he wins. So the American rifleman knocks down the EW rifleman. Let me take a look and see who that was. That was the Hoff on EW against Weedophile on one CDO. Nice name. And we are seeing now two players from one CDO are starting to kind of maneuver and get around the strong points. So one CDO kind of clawing back into the zone here a little bit. Nice work from them.
Yeah, it looks like EW have, lost the initial control that they had around the Hospice area. Initially, from the first couple of minutes, one CDO were kind of beating a closed door. They were moving along the flanks that they have been and just being picked, but they've made a little bit of progress now. It's really up to the center team with Fopa, Mega, Dab, Wisenex, the Glider here to try and make some progress and eliminate some of these guys remaining in the Hospice area. Because EW are going to reinforce this very quickly, and all that progress that they've made on the southern flank is going to be lost. It's interesting to see that the whole kind of northern flank has also collapsed a little bit for one CDO. They're still going to go for it, though. There is an OP, behind a bush, just on that northern road right at the top, and they're going to keep pushing down there. But I'm really not sure if that's an effective way of using a squad or half a squad. And as I say that, one of them literally gets a rocket to the face.
Yeah, we're seeing now like a bit of a response. I think EW, realizing that their center was pretty weak, has now kind of fortified that position I was just talking about. And now you're seeing one CDO having to now fight through players that were not there just 60 seconds ago. So one CDO has got some options north side. There's not a lot of EW there, so definitely an opportunity.
I just saw one member of one CDO on the south here take really drastic action and use a bazooka against one of EW from literally 10 meters away. So I'm sure that EW player was not expecting that. Hey, you've got the equipment, you might as well use it.
You got the equipment, you might as well use it. That should be the tagline for Hell at Least.
No pun intended. Yeah, I mean, the main reflection that I have or comment right now from what one CDO are doing is that they are getting constantly picked here, a lot more than what they're able to return to EW. There are multiple members of the EW team that have floated around the Hospice area that I've kept an eye on, and they haven't died in the last 5 minutes. So there are a couple of fraggers in that area who are managing to push back these attacks, and every now and then you see a bit of one CDO coming in from the east and making a little bit of progress. They're just not able to capitalize just yet.
And I am seeing, there's like a bit of this satellite fight going on, south side. And it's pretty even. It's like basically a 3v3. You're seeing EW really having a nice forward element. Like EW, if we zoom out and look at this at a very wide angle, right? You're seeing kind of a very long, thin line from EW.
Yes.
Whereas 1CDO is actually kind of starting to match that. And it's kind of just like a line battle up and down, which is very different from the match we saw just a little while ago on Hospice that was way more reactive. There was a lot more concentration of forces in specific areas. Both teams just like kind of content, I guess, with the status quo. We're about 12 minutes into this, and like so far, 1CDO not really going for like a big massing of forces, just kind of keeping it light and easy on the whole line. Now we are seeing a bit of movement in the middle here, and it is very thin for EW. A squad leader has just gone down. A couple players eliminated him in the buildings. Are EW outposts set rather far back from the road? How close are they to the road?
So there is an EW outpost literally just maybe 50 meters west from the actual Hospice point. There was another one in the wheat field to the north of that, and the last one is about 50 to 100 meters away from the road. If you look at the main road that goes down the middle of the map, they're kind of just like in a field. So, not too close, but none of those OPs for a long time now haven't been challenged by 1CDO.
Yeah, I mean, this is good from 1CDO. I think they are now starting to advance on the south side. I think they found maybe a bit of an opening. There is not an OP down there, as we just said, for this EW team. So they're not really able to like react quickly down there, right? So 1CDO is actually starting to gain some ground. They're crossing the main road, and they're heading in towards kind of the back line of EW. And while that's happening, we are starting to see, really a lack of concentration of forces from 1CDO at all on the north side. And we have a rifleman from EW that has gotten pretty much to the edge.
Ezio is in a very dangerous position here.
Yeah, Ezio in excellent position to do some damage. He's looking for 1CDO, but he's not finding them because they've all pivoted away.
He's got basically maybe a 30-meter run into a trench towards his south. If he makes it into that trench, he's basically got a free walk into the back line of 1CDO. There is possibly one player from 1CDO, Baron, how do you even say that? Baronson Turf, looking in the direction of Ezio. And if he's bold here and tries to go south, he's actually got a real opportunity to take out one of 1CDO's main OPs.
Yeah, now we're starting to see this really interesting. Like, we never saw like any fighting at all earlier today, and I don't mean to keep comparing to the earlier match, but I think it's interesting where these fights are happening, right? Like this is so different from the areas we were watching in the last game, which just tells you how dynamic this strong point is. Like fights can just kind of take place anywhere. It tells me that it is a very balanced strong point.
Yeah, and to be honest, I am just waiting for the moment that the alarm bells start ringing, panic stations start setting in, composure starts falling apart, and both teams start considering that, this match, best out of 3, won the third match now, is all to play for. And I'm sure we'll see some quite drastic action taken towards the end of this half an hour game.
Yeah, and look at this advance now. 1CDO really finding an opening in the south side here. They are really starting to funnel in towards the point in decent numbers. They got a third of their team there.
They are bulging in quite drastically here. We do have a couple of people on the in the gardens area on the western side. Does look like some of those people right at the north of that point, including Watson, who was an SL. His whole team's just been taken out. So actually, W have done a pretty good job of trying to stop 1CDO massing from the south area up north through the urban areas. And there is this weird diagonal line forming across the map.
Yes, I was just about to comment on that. You can see it on stream. It's kind of now moved to like a southeast-northwest divide instead of a north-south or east-west divide. So, yeah, like kind of interesting. It looks like 1CDO, who was pushing quite nicely on that north side, has really lost anything they had going on up there and is now electing to go the more urban route on the south side, try to go building to building here. And we did see like a pretty solid advance from 1CDO there about 60 seconds ago. That was shut down very nicely from EW. So, like right now it's a bit of like reaction. It's a bit of, poking and prodding in a couple different places, looking to get like an opening. But but EW holding tight for now. I think 1CDO is definitely in position to strike, and this is one of those maps where things change so fast. You look away for 30 seconds, and an entire team could be wiped on this strong point, and you might be looking at a completely different situation. But so far, it's interesting. It really is now turning almost into a north-south battle on this map. Really,
Yeah,
it almost is.
The axis of the fight is basically pivoted from east to west, north to south, as you've just said. And part of the reason for that is 1CDO have essentially just gone, no, we're not going to concentrate on the north flank now. We're going to give it up. And we're going to use some of those men that we had fighting over the northern side, along that road, along the wheat field, just north of Hospice. We're going to commit them down to the south. And that's kind of forcing EW to potentially question whether or not taking that that northern area, maybe moving a couple men alongside it and flanking around is a worthwhile option. As they're doing that, though, 1CDO with their bulging south side here are committing all their men north, and it's rather bizarre. Now we seem to have the front, or the two lines of both the teams here is now north to south. So we've gone from an east to west fight to north to south. It's actually quite bizarre.
Yeah, and we did see this last year in a couple of matches where, like, Hospice has this ability to be fought in all directions, and it looks good all the time, right? So, like, it's so interesting. Like, look, EW has almost pushed 1CDO out on the very northern side, and it's the same thing in the other direction. You have 1CDO almost to the very back line of EW on the other side. So it's the next minute is going to really determine the outcome of this match, I think, because if 1CDO can complete this push north, and they can drop all of these EW outposts, EW then is going to be completely cut off from the zone if the squad leaders go down, and 1CDO is just going to come storming back to capture this. And I really like the concentration from 1CDO south side. I think they're close. EW still holding nicely, still in good position. You are starting to have a bit of a counter flank coming down on the very right side of your screen from a couple of EW players. They drop a 1CDO player. So, I mean, people all over the place. It's changing quickly, but 1CDO kind of amassing south side. EW starting to flank down and around, trying to maybe pinch this off from both sides.
Yeah, 1CDO need to be really careful here, because essentially, as you've said, got a couple of men from EW who've basically moved all the way around to the eastern side. And if we concentrate now on this eastern flank, Birdflu and Ezio have a good run-in of a whole squad here. Havoc manages to take down Birdflu. Ezio is trying to figure out where this BAR is firing from, and I do believe there might be an OP around that location. And Ezio is just seen now 3 people spawn. Is he going to be able to do anything about this? Because it is really pivotal here that he takes out this OP. Looks like, well, 1CDO just lining up for him at this point. Ezio is on absolute fire. And he gets taken down eventually by carriers. But they have that information now that OP is there. Doesn't look like there was anyone else on the eastern side coming in from EW. So for now, 1CDO managed to defend the eastern flank.
They're alive. They're staying alive. They have a squad leader that's advanced quite high. He just went down. So 1CDO actually maybe losing some of their momentum here. Looks like EW has actually battled back a little bit. They've actually moved a little bit further south here. They're getting a little bit better position. 1CDO basically has their entire team in, like, again, it's so interesting. Last game on Hospice, the entire Exodus team was inside of the wheat field, and pretty much the entire 1CDO team is within 100 meters of each other right now.
Yeah, and what's interesting about this is, as well, if you look at where EW are, they are a bit careful of their northern flank still. There are a number of men for EW who are not committed into this fight right now, and it seems to me that they're potentially a little bit confused about where everyone is. Obviously, they know 1CDO is coming from the south, but they will not realize at this current moment in time that all of them are there. So, there are a couple men, basically. What I'm trying to point out is that there's at least a squad worth of men for EW who are not on this front that is forming between the north and the south, which is really interesting. But we do have a couple of other guys moving in from the east now for EW. They're going to try and make another push on 1CDO's eastern flag, maybe take out an OP or two. So 1CDO needs to be really careful of this.
Wetfoot shuts down Birdflu on this flank, so that was really good. If Wetfoot doesn't get him, that really kind of opens up this eastern side. But But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of all over the place right now. You got smoke in all directions. You're right. EW still holding strong, north side. EW just kind of making sure that no one's going to like sneak in on the top side, which in my opinion is a very good idea.
Good idea.
You cannot lose control of that north side because that gets really tricky really fast. But it's just kind of going back and forth right now. You know, EW gains a little bit of ground, and then 1CDO gains a little bit of ground, and right now 1CDO definitely on the offensive. And you know, this is gonna start coming down. We're in the final 10 minutes. We got 8 minutes to go. And right now, I mean, EW comfortable. I think they are comfortable. They're looking at this and they're like, look, they're not really threatening the OPs. They are getting close to the zone, but we have the ability to respawn. We have the ability to move. I think EW feels okay, but we saw what happened last time when a team was feeling okay. So, you know, 1CDO now is kind of running into time. They've got 8 minutes to go capture the zone or they're out of the tournament. So it's going to come down to, I think, the last little bit of pushing here on the south side. Can 1CDO get an opening? Can EW hold this off? I think this is the established lines, I think, for the remainder of this match.
Yeah, 100%. I think what will be absolutely pivotal going forward are individual plays. We do need a couple people from 1CDO to pick off a couple of the EW plays here and capitalize on the space that inevitably provides. We haven't really seen that. I mean, the closest 1CDO are getting to the center point here is where Watson, Curious, and Havoc are right on the corner of the junction, and they could maybe capitalize on their position there and move closer into the point because there's only a few people around them, but it does look like EW are, in a way, about to cut off some of the guys on the south. So, you know, we've got some quite fluid lines of attack here at the moment, and it really just is going to boil down to whether or not, you know, how soon are 1CDO going to start committing everyone? Where are they going to come from? And are they able to actually, you know, outfight EW, kind of activate the back burners that they have and win the gunfights?
Yeah, and we saw a really strong push from 1CDO get close to the circle, but not quite get there. And you're right. We're now seeing this southern flank under threat here from 3 different angles. It's only 3 players, or 4 players, I should say. So you're just seeing players all over the place on each team. But what that's doing, and an outpost, I think, just went down for 1CDO on the south side. You know, just 2 OPs up for 1CDO right now. Abel needs to replace his quickly. He's coming back to reset it. But 1CDO running out of time. 6 minutes on the clock. They have a decent concentration close in this enclosed courtyard, but that's pretty much it. They have not been able to access the north side. EW has completely cut off access to the north side with a couple of guys up in the road there. So, you know, 1CDO has got to move here. They can't stay on the south side for much longer. That, you know, they've got about a minute or 2 before they need to just go full sail to the point. And the problem that they're going to run into is EW knows that they're down there. So they know what direction they're coming from. It's not a surprise. So it's just going to come down to 1CDO is going to need to rely on some individual skill, as you just said, and they're going to need to win some gunfights if they're going to win this match. Clock is really starting to tick down.
Yeah, I mean, it will get to a situation very shortly where I'm sure the Hail Mary call will be pinged into command chat, and they start deciding to just flood in as many people as they can. I mean, they're not really making much progress, unfortunately, around the center. We've just saw there Havoc managed to actually cross the junction for arguably the first time in the match, but he got picked off straight away. It's interesting, though, because effectively EW are holding back 1CDO with probably 2/3 of their force. I mean, there are a couple guys, as I said, you know, 4 or 5 people on the north who have not really done very much for the last 15 minutes, and yet they're still managing to hold them back. So we do have an interesting play now coming on the west side. Hide and Seek UK, and insert interesting name here, kind of progressing up the west, and you know they've managed to take down Alex Rocks, and we'll see if Mr. Mac Fuckknuckle if he can make any progress, because he's actually got a bit of a free one into some of the OPs now. Just depends how bold he decides to be here.
There is one player from EW standing between 1CDO and I think pretty much all of the OPs from
all
EW,
the OPs, right? Yeah.
So if 1CDO and this final 4 minutes can break through and get to these outposts in the back line, this is a whole new match. And 1CDO could come storming back in. Now look at the north side. You have players from 1CDO electing to stop the advance on the south side, feeling like they're not getting anywhere. And you have a full squad that is now redeployed north. And they're trying to contest these players from EW that have been sitting here the whole time, an MG and a squad leader that have been here. This is Six and Dolph from EW. But I don't know. I feel like 1CDO getting low on time here.
They're
Really
quite stretched.
They need to just go all into the point. I know that they're trying to flank. They feel like they weren't getting anywhere south. They did have openings on the south side, but they could never quite exploit them. They never could quite get where they needed to go. And right now, EW just kind of convincingly holding the strong point. They haven't looked super threatened. 1CDO has kind of been holding around the periphery pretty much this entire game, but have not been able to get into kind of the heart of the strong point. So props to EW on a very strong defense up to this point. Definitely have their priorities in order on that side of the coin. The question is, just like we saw in the Exodus DC game, can they hold on to this into the final minute? Because, DC looks so good until right about now, with about 3 minutes to go, and that's where it all started to fall apart. So 1CDO looks like they're making a final push both south and north. They have a lot of ground to cover, though, if they want to contest this.
Yeah, and anything can happen at this point, but EW are doing a very good job of just inserting individual players in and amongst 1CDO on the south, which just as much as anything, it just forms a distraction. You're progressing up north, and the problem with this map for 1CDO is that when you're moving south to north, you are still getting funneled into various lanes, so your movement is still very predictable. And throughout this, EW have managed to insert themselves in and amongst 1CDO, as I just said, in the south, and it's just forming a distraction. They're not making the progress that they would like to. They really just need to full send absolutely everyone now, commit to numbers, and commit to the fact that if one of their teammates goes down, you need to trade with the person that just dropped him, and commit to their numbers to the point where maybe they can start overwhelming the point and at least start capping to force into overtime.
Yeah, they've just got to go for it. There's no more waiting, and I think 1CDO took too long to go for it. You never quite saw the concentration needed. I appreciate that they tried to go north side. They thought maybe there'd be an opening there. They hadn't gone in a while, so they got to try it. But I think trying it was too late. I think they went too late north. They should have tried that probably 5 minutes earlier, known that that was not an option, and then pivoted everything south. You got to give credit to EW, just really not allowed a player from 1CDO to touch the circle in like 20 minutes. They haven't boxed them out. They have not forced 1CDO from the play area, but really have not allowed them to get anywhere near the zone. So this is good play from EW, and they are a minute away from advancing into losers round 3 next Saturday, and 1CDO is a minute from being eliminated here. So this is it. 1CDO's got decent concentration southeast of the strong point. They need to all just run. There's no more waiting. You just have to run, throw smokes, and just go. It's all about getting capture progress.
Yeah, it's interesting as well, because if you look at the scoreboard right now, EW score is very much reflective on their dominance of the match so far. Most of their plays have managed to out-frag 1CDO, and you can tell that because EW are managing to pick off more people individually than 1CDO are able to return. And that is really what's hampering the progress. If 1CDO were able to, pick 2 people per life, 3 people per life, they would start, they would have created openings for them to get themselves to the point. And we are just seeing here on the outer edge, on the southeast outer edge of the point, conglomeration of 1CDO players, but as soon as I say that, multiple of them go down, and it looks like
I think they're going to run out of time. I see no capture progress. That is a GG. 1CDO just finally getting... Look, they just, as time expires, they open up that side of the map that they had struggled with for so long, but it's just too late. And EW walks out of losers round 2 alive in this tournament. They advance to losers round 3 next Saturday, and 1CDO is now out of the tournament. And man, they gave a good fight here. I mean, EW certainly had control. They looked like they had good positioning pretty much the whole game. But look, and this is what I was talking about, if 1CDO had just moved like 60 seconds prior, this could have been a very different match, but they just could not move in the amount of time they needed to move in to get the win. So in either case, a really strong game from both teams. This was very entertaining to watch. A great look at Hospice as a strong point, seeing it in both directions, was really entertaining. But this is going to go to EW. They walk out of here with a 2-1 series win over one CDO. We may or may not be back. I need to go check in. We have a couple of matches that are not quite over yet that started at 3 o'clock. So we finished a little early here. So if we do go live, it's going to be around 4:45, 5 Eastern time, and that would be a potential match 3 between some of the games that started at 3 o'clock Eastern today. But in any case, this was losers round 2 action of the Hell Let Loose Summer Invitational. My name is Avinus. I was joined by Scurbs. Thanks, Scurbs. Great job casting. We might be back for one more. Thanks for joining us so far today. We'll be back.